So let us get started. Good evening, everybody. It's my pleasure to introduce our speaker and to welcome you all to this outstanding webinar that we are going to be listening to for the next hour or so. This is the title of the webinar is Pioneering Immersive Engineering from Sony and Siemens, the revolutionary HMD in action. I'm sure you will learn more about what that means in a few minutes. Our presenter, Shannon O'Donnell, focuses on engaging learners and educators to create a more innovative, sustainable future through access to credentials, industrial strength software, industry-aligned learning resources, and an ecosystem of more than 1.5 million students at more than 4,000 institutions worldwide. Shannon serves as the Global Engineering Dean's Council on the council and is immediate past chair of the College Industry Partnership Division at the American Society Engineering Education and Advisory Board for schools. Ben, who I don't see in the call yet, hopefully will join us soon, is a design engineer by trade, specializing in visualization and extended reality. He leads the Immersive Engineering Marketing Partnership with Sony, focusing on innovative marketing strategies, compelling content creation, and go-to-market campaigns. Ben's mission is to usher in the next generation of design to immersive engineering, transforming how we create the products of the future. So over to you, Stan. It's all yours.
Thank you very much, Krishna. I'm very excited to be here this morning and this afternoon and this evening speaking with all of you. And as we get started, Ben will be joining us, and I'd love to ask this question. If you had to define immersive engineering, what would your definition of immersive engineering be to start this call? If you could take a second and put that in the chat.
Okay. Okay, let's get some action here, folks, in the chat box.
Write the chat.
Immersive engineering. Here they're coming in.
Get immersed in experience type of situations. Great. Real problems and solutions.
Okay, anybody else? There you go.
Nice. Applying knowledge and skills in real life. Okay, virtual design solutions. Great. Well, as we're talking through this today, please feel free to incorporate more of these kind of conversations into this chat. I think it's really important that as we begin this, we're looking at immersive engineering in new ways and thinking about how somebody goes from 2D to 3D is really critical. So I'm going to go ahead and I want to show one video to get us started. We're going to integrate a couple of these throughout. And this particular video is one that we did a challenge recently that we'll talk about more in a moment. But as we get started, I think this team did oh, yep. What's that?
So yeah, Stan, when you turn on the video, make sure you go to the video screen and you have to click volume, turn on sound. I think you may be aware of that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you. So we'll make sure that I'm doing that in the share sound for sure. Appreciate that. So as you guys hear this, you will be learning from one of the teams in Sweden what they thought immersive engineering was and how they applied it. So we're going to go ahead and share this now. And one moment. Okay.
Do you think you will be able to see out of here?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Yeah.
And this push bar, do you think that feels like a good height?
Yeah, you should be able to push that really easily, and since the rear wing is not that high, yeah.
No, stop.
Oh no, it's already done.
Oh, this hole needs to be smaller.
Only if it could have been done immersively.
What a waste of material.
Guys, how do we think here? This... Oh. This is impossible. Should have used immersive design for this. Guys, I think this is lower than in the CAD. I think we should have done it immersively. Guys, this is not very ergonomic. I think we should have CAD'd this immersively.
Yeah, it's time to replace the upright. As in the instruction video, we use our Allen key. It does not fit. This needs immersive design.
Okay, so from that video, I'm curious to hear if any of you have a different view of what immersive design is.
So, can I?
Please. Thank you, Dr.
Yeah,
Reddy.
what I understand is, so before we physically when we design, so better we can simulation we can design and model it and test it before you manufacture anything, any product. Because once it is manufactured, if it is not meet our specification, it is waste of resources. So to optimize the resources, then before before you go for any physical designing, you have to do model testing. So that is what I understand from this video.
Awesome. And that would be accurate, right? So one of the things that we are working very hard on is making sure that you can try things out in different ways. And so when the team of students here went ahead and submitted their videos, they were showing all of the ways that it could have made a difference in what it is that they are doing. We are still waiting for Ben, I believe. Is that correct? So I'm going to go ahead and go into a different presentation on his behalf, and he should be here shortly. Okay. So when we introduce NX Immersive Engineering, we're looking at all of the different features and functions and really focusing on how engineering can be reducing the amount of prototypes that people need, enhancing collaboration and productivity, which all relate to increasing the capabilities and the expense of what it costs to produce something. So from this perspective, we do focus on thinking about different scenarios in marketing and in ergonomics, especially thinking about team design as well as inspection and validation. At CES in 2024, the immersive headset with Sony did receive an award from CES for the following reasons. This was really designed for engineers to be able to engineer in an engineering environment. So right now, most of the experiences have been based on being able to see and visualize and move pieces. Whereas now we're able to do more to be able to get people to build out what it is that they're doing in this environment. If you imagine a car in the middle of all of us on this call right now, and each one of us being able to have this headset on and being able to design within it, that's the goal that we're striving for. And our partnership with Sony really enabled us to be able to do a lot more working with them to think about it from the engineering mindset. So from this perspective, we're able to look at more of an immersive explorer, a designer, a collaboration, as well as a visualization tool. So all of these different proponents and components really unlock new opportunities. When we talk about the gap of the number of engineers that are out in the world right now, you're looking at about 30 million engineers the world is short. And by 2030, it's projected to be approximately 85 million. The reason for that is because we have AI, we have things like immersive, all these different elements are coming together to make it essential for more and more engineers to be a part of this. So with Explorer, we can have one-click instant design reviews, being able to go through, look at this faster, see everything in real time, and be able to connect the real world with the digital world even faster. From a simulation perspective, we know that that's something that engineers are looking for frequently. So thinking about it from your perspective, I want to ask you if there are any particular areas here that would be exciting for you when you're thinking about what these different available tools would be. If you think about a classroom of students being able to use these tools, what could that mean in your classroom? And I see that there's a chat here. So Ben, you've joined. And so Ben is truly the expert here. So I am going to exit out and ask Ben if he would share his screen. Thank you, Ben. Oh, you're
Hi,
on
Ben.
mute still.
Hi, everybody. Apologies for being a little late. I had the wrong time in my diary there. My fault. Right, let me share my screen.
Yep.
So let's go over to the presentation. There we go.
Yep.
Thank you, Shannon, for getting started. So I'll just jump straight in. So this is a slide deck we've presented a few times. So hopefully some of you have seen it already, but if not, hopefully some interesting new information. So my name's Ben Widdowson. I am the marketing lead for our immersive engineering partnership here with Sony and Siemens. And I'm going to talk to you today about some pretty cool stuff that we're working on together. So first of all, and again, apologies, Shannon, if you've covered any of this, but who are Siemens and what do we do? Well, we help the coolest brands on the planet create some of the coolest products, everything from airplanes with a startup on the left here called Nautilus, F1 teams like Red Bull Racing, and incredible luxury yacht companies like Princess Yachts, as well as consumer electronics brands creating the smartphones and products that we use every day. And we provide the tools to help them do this, and we call this Siemens Accelerator. So this is our portfolio of software and tools to help companies design, engineer, and manufacture all the products that we know and love. So for my part, I live in the team that's responsible for our design and engineering suite. This is called Design Center, or NX is one of the tools. And this is where customers really build and create the digital twin of their products. So we believe that the future of product design and engineering is immersive. And the question is, why aren't we there yet? So what I mean by this is, back in 2007, when I was a engineering student in the UK, I went to the cinema with my now wife to watch the first Iron Man film. And in that film, there's an incredible scene where Tony Stark is designing the very first Iron Man suit. And he's using a combination of augmented reality. He's talking to his AI assistant, Jarvis. And he's using all these incredible technologies that at the time felt like science fiction. And I just thought this was the coolest thing that I'd ever seen. And as a new engineering design student, I figured, well, surely this is the way that we're going to be doing things. And here we are nearly 20 years later, and the question is, why aren't we there yet? Well, there's a couple of reasons. One of them is that there's a number of barriers that have stopped technologies like XR or VR or augmented reality being used as a day-to-day tool specifically for design and engineering. And one of the main reasons is that inherently the data is changing all the time for designers and engineers. You know, there's hundreds of designers and engineers working on thousands of parts, and they're checking them in and out all the time. So the data is changing. And for most extended reality applications where you're using a headset, most of these are third-party apps, which means that the designers and engineers have to export all of that CAD data, bring it into another system, probably do some work to make it look nice, and then demonstrate it to whichever executives or stakeholders they need to. And all of this takes time and effort, which means that for a typical designer on a typical day working on a typical product, they're just not going to bother. So this lack of connectivity to the CAD system has been one of the real barriers to entry for most people to use XR on a day-to-day basis within a design and engineering environment. So I'd like to introduce our partnership here with Sony. Sony is, first and foremost, they're a customer for Siemens. They use our 3D CAD and PLM tools to develop the products that we know and love from Sony, like the PlayStation, cameras, televisions. And they saw a huge productivity boost of around 30% when they moved to Siemens tools. So they approached us a number of years ago and said, we've seen this great productivity increasement within our own workforce, and we're really interested in taking that next step for productivity. And we think that that's going to be immersive. So we'd really like to reduce the number of physical prototypes we're making. We'd like to improve and enhance collaboration amongst our global workforce, and again, see further design productivity increases. So they approached us and said, would we be interested in partnering to develop a new mixed reality solution specifically for designers and engineers? And you may be thinking, well, why Sony and why Siemens? Well, actually, if you take, you know, Sony's rich heritage of developing cutting edge consumer products and hardware, and Siemens' rich history of developing leading industrial software, actually you can come together to bring a really compelling integrated XR solution to this industry, which starts to address some of those problems around having to export data. You have a much more integrated solution. So we call this immersive engineering. I'm going to play a quick video for you now, and I'll just talk over it. So what we wanted to do is bring together this headset here, which has some very unique controllers to allow very precise input for the engineers, and bring it together in a way that is deeply integrated into the CAD solution. So Sony have combined a number of their key strengths around lens technology, around sensing technology, and around display technology, all of which they already have in use in their existing other products like cameras and TVs and smartphones, and package it together in a very unique looking device. And this is very much targeted at that professional CAD user rather than for gaming, which is where maybe the Meta Quest lives, and rather than something like the Apple Vision Pro, which is very much targeted at kind of media use cases. This is very much designed specifically for engineering use cases. So we have very high resolution, 4K per display, 4K per eye, the deep connection into the CAD system, of course, and the unique controllers that I talked about before. The sensors in the headset are designed to track spatial information from the room around you. So it knows where to place a virtual object within your physical environment. It also knows where you are and tracks your hands and things like that. So it knows how to interact with the 3D geometry. So when you're in the immersive environment, you can actually see the real world around you. You have your live NX session. You can bring up additional monitors, virtual monitors, so you can see multiple parts and assemblies that you're working on. And all this is connected live into the NX session. So at no point do you have to exit your CAD session. The two controllers are designed very specifically. We have the ring controller, which allows you to pick out and pull out the virtual digital twin from your CAD session and also move things around like the virtual windows. And it's designed so that you can actually still continue to use the mouse and keyboard without taking it off, to really try and streamline that workflow. And then the pointing controller is for doing very precise selection and editing of geometry. So this is key, that we had a tool specifically for CAD and engineering workflows rather than a more typical gaming controller, which comes with many of the existing XR solutions. So as you can see, you can really start to combine the physical and the digital, comparing, in this case, a real camera versus the digital prototype. We also made very conscious design decisions to accommodate as many people as possible, with a good weight and balance, being able to adjust the position of the headset to accommodate people who wear glasses, and also to be able to quickly flip it up so that you can connect with the real people in the room around you and not have to take the whole headset off. So really wanted to facilitate this day-to-day use, remove as many of the barriers as possible, like the connection to the CAD system and some of the hardware challenges that other existing headsets provide. So let me just recap a few of the things we saw in that video. It's this combination of Siemens software and Sony's head-mounted display hardware that really provides the most intuitive way to work in a 3D CAD environment. And we have the two components like I've described. We have the software and the hardware. So I'm going to talk about the software first, and then I'll talk a little bit more about the hardware. So on the software side, we have a add-on module for our CAD system called NX Immersive Designer. An NX Designer allows you to combine the real and the digital worlds for the most natural digital twin experience when working in 3D CAD. You can start to pull out the digital twin of the product that you're working on and make design changes directly on that virtual model. We have a seamless XR workflow, meaning that you can interact with the live CAD session. So there's no export of data, which means we can handle any of that rapidly changing design data. So any changes that the team or the individual makes, those all come through immediately into the XR environment. There's no data processing or data round tripping that is typically a problem here. And we can also extend the creativity by using a borderless workspace. So we know that most people's experience of using 3D CAD is sat at their desk with a mouse and keyboard or a space mouse. We really want to make engineering and design much more expressive, much more fun. So being able to get up and move around, explore the digital twin of the product at human scale, bring in these big virtual monitors so that when you're collaborating with other people, you can all see the same thing. And just make that design experience much more expressive, lightweight, and fun. And then finally, of course, collaboration. This is key for everybody, especially post-COVID. We all know that there's a lot more people working from home or doing hybrid working. So being able to connect those disparate design teams from across the world or across the city to make smarter, faster decisions around the same digital data is key here. Okay, so moving on to the hardware itself from Sony, I'll just talk in a little bit more detail about what they've created. So it's called the Sony XR head-mounted display. It's exclusively for use with Siemens tools. So you won't see this headset being used in any of our competitor CAD tools. So this is a real unique differentiator for Siemens. As I mentioned before, we have 4K resolution per eye, which is comparable to the highest resolution headsets on the market. And this is key for seeing those real crisp details in the CAD. This is achieved by using these 1.3-inch micro OLED displays within the headset. And this is all courtesy of the rich heritage that Sony brings into developing this cutting-edge consumer hardware. We have the 4 tracking sensors on the outside of the headset, and these are used again to detect spatial information in the world around you and provide the cameras for the video see-through mode. So this is where you see the real world around you and overlay the digital twin. And this is all powered by the Qualcomm Snapdragon XR2 Plus Gen 2 processor. And again, just to recap, we have the 2 precision controllers designed specifically for engineering workflows. We have the ring for picking up and manipulating the 3D geometry, and then the pointing controller for doing very precise selection and editing workflows. Again, the headset is comfortably balanced for extended periods of use, and we accommodate people who wear glasses so that they can position the headset and not have to take their glasses off. And it's also designed to be able to flip up so that you can easily reconnect with people, real people in the real world, to have conversations. And finally, this does work both wired and wirelessly. This is the battery pack here on the back. So you can disconnect from your PC in an untethered mode and work wirelessly, which is great if you're walking around a 3D model of a building or a large model like a car or a plane or a boat. So I'd just like to change gears slightly and talk about a couple of our early customers. This is a customer called Nautilus based in San Diego in the USA, and they are an aerospace startup company, and they're looking to revolutionize the way that air freight transport is done. So they're using a new innovative blended wing body design aircraft, which has 2.5% greater capacity on the inside, which means they can hold more cargo, which means less fuel per kilo of load transported, and ultimately reduces the operating costs. So these guys got very, very early access last year to the immersive engineering solution, and they came up with some really exciting use cases. So first up, they were really excited to be able to have their own designers see the digital twin of the part that they're creating whilst it's designing and whilst that geometry is being created. Being able to bring it out of the screen and almost hold the geometry is really, really nice and really unique, and helps an understanding of the 3D shape that's being created. Next up, they wanted to be able to experience the aircraft at human scale. So with a product like an aircraft like this that's never been built before, they were actually blown away by being able to stand next to the full-size digital twin of the aircraft, and this is before it's been built. They have certain parts of the aircraft in the hangar which they've built, like the tails and the wings, but they've not actually stood next to the whole thing yet because it's not finished. So being able to do that with the digital twin was really eye-opening for the engineers, and they were super excited to dive in and be able to look at the packaging within certain parts of the plane and understand certain design decisions they've made at full scale rather than being constrained to a small 2D monitor. And then finally, they wanted to be able to engage with their customers, which in this case is companies like DHL and FedEx, who have their shipping containers, which they would load onto the aeroplane. And they wanted to be able to show each of these customers how their particular shipping container could be laid out within the belly of the aircraft. So being able to have these kind of conversations live around the digital twin with the customer really helps with those commercial discussions and fine-tuning the internal layout of the airplane to suit this use case. And then finally, being able to bring stakeholders from the shop floor to collaborate with the designers has been a really interesting use case. So some of these stakeholders would be building prototypes, would be learning how to assemble the plane, and being able to do some of those things digitally before they get to the shop floor has been really interesting to explore, because typically a lot of that problem solving would happen further down the line. But being able to bring those stakeholders into the 3D environment, they don't have to understand or learn how to use the CAD system. They can just see and experience the 3D model and have those discussions much earlier in the design process, which really helps with ironing out some of those design challenges earlier on in the process. So yeah, finally, a couple of other nice quotes we've had from customers who we've shared this with over the past 12 months. They really like the ergonomics of the controllers, being able to actually experience the digital twin live connected to the CAD system has been really important. And of course, for people who have customers who have a dedicated VR lab within their offices, being able to start thinking about how they democratize and share this technology around more of the engineering workforce at their desk, rather than having to have them come into a dedicated VR lab, is really interesting because it allows you to spread the value of this technology around the business. So just to summarize, immersive engineering really is this unique combination of Siemens software and Sony's hardware, which provides the most natural and intuitive way to work in 3D CAD. It's this combination of Siemens software and Sony's revolutionary head-mounted display that is the only way to access this kind of experience. Just in summary again, so we have this kind of seamless integration into the CAD system where you can easily combine the real and the digital, and have this extended borderless workspace for designing in collaboration with your colleagues. And on the hardware side, we have this very high resolution display with tracking sensors for detecting spatial information, unique controllers for doing precise engineering work, and a comfortably balanced ergonomic design for extended periods of use. So back to the start, when will we get there? Well, I think we're closer than ever, and I think some of the exciting developments we have coming soon with technologies like AI and voice assistants will really get us even closer to this experience of being able to design like Iron Man. And for me personally, I'm super excited as a young engineer who saw this nearly 20 years ago to finally be in a position where we are able to design like this. I think it's incredibly exciting for the next generation of engineers coming into our industry. This is how I think people want to work, and I think it's really going to be quite inspiring to see how this technology drives future products within the companies we know and love. So if you're interested in learning more, we have more information up on our web pages about both the hardware and the software. And of course, if you have questions, I'm always happy to help. I'm also on LinkedIn. If you have questions outside of this, feel free to reach out to me, and I'll hand back over to Shannon for the rest of the session. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Ben. Ben, do you have time for a couple of questions, if there are any?
Yeah, of course, of course.
Okay, great. Are there any questions? No questions. Okay. Any comments? Okay, well, thank you so much, Ben, for coming on and introducing everybody to it. Oh, here we go. Let's see here. Ben, is it available for purchase?
It is available for purchase. It is sold by Siemens, so typically only available to our customers, but I know we are working on access for academic institutions as well. In fact, I think we've already had a few academic institutions purchase. So yeah, maybe we can clarify that exact position afterwards, Shannon, but yeah, to answer the question, it is available now.
Right, thanks. Great, great question.
Yeah,
Would our
Ben.
eyes get affected by using this? Oh,
Hello, Ben.
Hi.
Yeah. So because recently we participated Sony Siemens Immersive Design Challenges. Hello.
yes,
Can you hear me?
yes, Dr. Rajat. Yes, we can.
Yeah. So 3 of my students got an opportunity to work with NX tool. So presently they are started as a student ambassador of our university. So I want to know more detail about this one, how we can further use in academic in our university. to understand about more detail about the Sony Siemens, the NX tool, and how the CAD tools can be incorporated our academy in regular curriculum, so that student can learn very detailed and it can reach to everyone, not for only a specific few students. So I want to know more detail how we can, in academic purpose, how we can further move forward, take into, and we can incorporate, so that we can incorporate our curriculum. Then every student can participate this one. And how we can access this tool. Reality is at what extent we can use it in academic purpose.
Yeah, sure.
Great
It's a great question.
Ben. Yeah.
So right now, today, we have a kind of phase one set of countries which we've launched in. Unfortunately, India isn't one of those, but that is on our phase two list. So I don't have an exact date to give you for when that will be available to purchase, but it is coming very soon. And I think the typical way to access this would be through your Siemens account rep. But obviously, if you have specific questions about how to do that, then I'm happy to have those diverted to me, and we can connect you to the right people.
Thanks, Ben. Also, Ben, will this be at Realize Live in Bangalore? Or no?
I will find out. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ben.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for the question. I have there's a question in the chat as well about, would your eyes get affected by using this? I think, yeah, historically, some people have experienced issues when using XR devices. I think Sony have done everything they can to minimize that. I know things like the resolution is very high, the latency is very low. So all of those things help to mitigate that. And certainly in my experience of testing this with a number of customers at events, I've not had anyone experience any problems. So hopefully the answer is no to that.
Thank you. And what to do if I need it at my university? I think we answered that a little bit in the first question, but I do want to just add the two things that you need, as Ben was saying, was the NXXX with some value-based licensing is required, which we just completed what that might look like for academia. So the good news is that will be available shortly in the academic market to be able to support it. And then, of course, the headsets themselves. And as Ben mentioned, there are a limited number of countries that they're available in initially, but that will be opening up more per the guidance and regulations of individual countries. So I'm happy to have conversations offline, either with me or with Ben or our local teams that can help you with that for sure. Thank you for those questions, though. That's great.
Okay. Hans, do you want to take over? Anything more, Stan? Do you have any more questions?
I just have a couple more things to share. So I do want to go ahead and thank you. Appreciate it. So let's go ahead and I'm going to share my screen one more time. Let's thank you, Ben, for being here and supporting the academic institutions the way you have throughout this challenge.
And apologies for being a bit late there.
I'm sorry if there was a timing concern there. So as we go through this, one of the things we were talking about initially when I showed you the design video from this team in Sweden is that this challenge that we initially set up, and that you heard one of the faculty members talking about some of his students being a part of, was really giving students the opportunity to see this before anybody else really has had the chance to in the market outside of some of the companies that you had heard in the presentation. So for the Immersive Design Challenge, I wanted to make sure to share some of the schools that were a part of this throughout Europe, Germany, and the United Kingdom. And also we have other slides that detail that more. But generally speaking, we have about 1,270 registrations from 237 different universities. So I want to thank all of you for submitting these or introducing your students to this challenge. And you can see here who the top 10 universities were. So congratulations to all of those top teams. From there, I thought it would be good, and I'm going to have to stop
Shannon,
sharing because, of course, go ahead.
Your
Yes?
screen is not showing. Your screen is not showing. No,
Oh, the screen was not showing. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me try one more time. And I'll just kind of start from where I'm at then. Please let me know if you're able to see it.
Yeah, now it's showing.
Okay, now you can. Okay, so
Yeah.
here's a quick overview of what I just said and a little bit more. So please enjoy.
I'm very excited to see all of the projects and super excited to see the technology being used by some incredibly talented designers.
So we must inspire them by reaching out to students and showing them what we can achieve with immersive engineering.
You don't even have to be in the same room. You can be at completely different places and still get a great intuition for what the other person means.
The battery passport is essentially a digital record that provides information about a battery's health and its environmental impact.
I think over-delivering and exceeding expectations has been the theme here.
This whole event just really inspired me. It just really speaks to the value of your voice in our product development.
Without further ado, the winning team is Team Next Cycle.
Wow, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
So there were a lot of different ways that people got involved, and we can go through these videos at a different point. But just as a highlight again for the immersive engineering, really making all of this engineering experience to make decisions faster, improve sustainability across the entire chain, and unlock new opportunities. So if you are in the following areas, we do have the opportunity to try out the Sony headset with NX. If you're at the ASEE annual conference, please come to the booth. We'll definitely have it there available for you to try, as well as 2 events that are happening in Europe and the Americas. So with that said, I do want to say thank you very much for working together with Siemens and inviting us to be a part of this webinar series to empower the next generation of learners together. If you have any other questions, happy to stay on the line, but Hans and Krishna, I'll hand it back to you.
Thanks, Sam, and thanks, Ben, for a really inspiring presentation about the future of design. Fantastic. Hans, does anybody have any more questions? Just put them in the chat box. Otherwise, I'll let Hans take over. Go ahead, Hans.
It's fascinating. It's a daily learning process. What a creative presentation and excellent teamwork, Shannon and Ben. I really deeply, deeply appreciate you working together and showing this. And we certainly will work with you to let our global community, as you know, we have many friends and colleagues here representing both IUCEE in India under the leadership of Krishna, and of course IFEES and GDC, and both Siemens is a very important corporate member of the IFEES and GDC community at a global level. It's very interesting you mentioned Montreal, where you will be there. We will also be there and have an IFEES GDC session there on June 22nd, and then a reception dinner that we've done for years as part of the ASE community, bringing the IFEES and GDC community together. So some of you, I know some of you are here today, will join us, and I look forward to see you there. Then working diligently as co-chair, and again, working also with Siemens, our very important partner, our forthcoming global event in Daegu, South Korea in September. And we are working on the program and bringing in many, many colleagues, friends, and serious partners throughout the world. And also students, which are a very important dimension of our community of IFEES GDC at a global level. So I hope to see many of you. I know there are some leaders I'm working with closely in India who are facilitating already, working and planning and registering to join us in South Korea in September. Let me know if you have any questions, any interest, and we can follow up. So with that, Shannon, many, many thanks. And Ben, it was good to see Dora, also an important IFEES GDC leader. She participated, and many other colleagues and friends. Thank you, dear all. And Ben, it's a pleasure for the first time to meet you. Very, very thoughtful presentation. All the very best to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. All over the
Bye-bye.
world. Thank you. Good night. Good day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.